engage the people yourself. It is best when management speaks to the people. It is best when they hear from what we would normally call the horse's mouth. But the truth again is that where the horse is not willing to speak, what then do we do? So at those times, my advice would be, as the HR person, step into that space, bridge that gap, while hoping that sometime soon, management will come around or come around. Because the tendency is there for you to want to say, well, it's not my business, like waiting to my own. It's their business. If the thing collapses, well, everybody will go home and rest in peace, and things like that. If the people see despondency in you and see you not in a place where they can even reach you or reach your heart and be able to connect with you at an emotional level, then that will be a challenge. So my advice is, first of all, avoid such companies if you can. If working there as a professional, you will always have an issue thriving in that kind of environment. However, where you have already found yourself there, or it hasn't been possible for you to live yet, my counsel will be for you to step into that space. Be the person that they see representing the management in engaging them. You may not be able to hold everybody down. You may not be able to get everybody engaged the way we have described the employee engagement, but I'm sure you'll be able to win some. So that would be my suggestion on that.
Thank you much.
Thank you. I saw a message drop in the chat box. How do you decide which employee from
Absolutely. Before you answer this, Mr. Iforibe, thank you so much for that response. Right, there's something you said that actually stood out for me, and I like the fact that you made a reference to the session we had, about a few weeks ago on business partnering. See, guys, this thing is not, you don't wake up like what we experienced 2 days ago, that the information that actually came out 2 days ago is not what we planned for, right? In fact, nobody expected this because there's still nothing on where when the pump price was moved from, I think 200 naira or so, or 185 to
I can't hear you, Temitope. I don't know if it's just me.
It was late 2022, and here we are right now. So what that means is that we can never tell, what can happen. Now we're talking about this fuel pump price issue. Tomorrow we can wake up, something else happens. So now what are we supposed to do as HR professionals? Are we supposed to be waiting for all these situations to arise before we start bringing propositions to the table and all of that? What are we doing in the time that things are actually, we are not in an austere time like this? How are we engaging, putting to best use our resources? That is, when I'm talking about resources, I'm talking about our employees. How is our performance management? How engaged are we keeping the employees before now? And when we are saying engaged, to what end are we keeping them engaged? Why should we keep them engaged? What value does it add to the organization? And how do you measure the impact of your effort and the employee engagement activities that you are putting in place? You see, how are you selling yourself? How connected, to the management now, to the management team, how are you selling yourself? What impact are your value propositions, employee value propositions, and every activities that you are doing as human resource manager or officer? How is it impacting the business, and how are you measuring it? So this is to tell us that there is need for us to build relationship, effective relationship with these key stakeholders within an organization. That when there's an issue, if you say, hey, I know that there is a value in even bringing that up and in comply with whatever it is that you put to the table. So we must be able to develop confidence and proactiveness. Let's take some measures of proactiveness in ensuring that we are doing our best and our impact is actually being felt. Thank you so much, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity to contribute to this.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Mr. I couldn't have put it any better. So, like I said, it's about continuous engagement, and it's on both sides, with management in good times, so that when the times are bad, you already have their listening ear and you can speak into those ears. All right. Okay, so how do you decide? This is a question from Mercy Osas. How do you decide which employee engagement strategy to use that will get the needed success? Would more team bonding activity make employees more engaged? Well, so it's not a one-word answer, right? If you listen to when I was speaking during the presentation, I have said that each organization, you have to determine what works for you. Really achieve this. For example, in some places, you hear team bonding exercises or activities being about unwinding. Don't discuss work at all. Nothing. Don't go there and start asking, oh, did you send that email I asked you to send yesterday? Or things like that. No, that should not happen at team bonding activities. There are also other places where they say, okay, so that's also a time for us to open it up. Open it all up. Those things we can't say in the office space. Those things that when we're able to tell ourselves, more like a retreat or a place where people just open it all up and discuss it, mention it without holding back and all that. So there's no single method that would work for everybody. It's not a one-size-fits-all kind of thing. You must know what will work for your organization. There are some strategies that would require you to talk. There are strategies, even silence itself is a strategy. Sometimes there are times that, being silent or keeping quiet might be the best opportunity, the best reaction in a particular instance. So team bonding activities are desirable. They actually help to engage employees because it bonds them together. And of course, one of the things that will make employees stay with you and be committed to the job they do is when they have been able to build relationships, good affinities. I'm a recruiter, so I know for a fact that there have been people who you have made them a fantastic offer to join your company. And then they come back to tell you, oh, I have this boss I work with, I have this colleague I work with who has said to me, you know what, I shouldn't go. So the person might even be taking a pay cut to remain where they are. Sometimes we've seen people who are willing to take a pay cut to leave an organization to another place. That tells you something about employee engagement. So engagement is multifaceted. It's not just about being engaged to the company or with the company or with management or with, it's all across. It's, I don't know how best to explain it, but you just have to find out what strategy works for you and then make sure that by whatever means, your people are continually engaged with one another, with management, but more importantly, with the job that they do for you. That would be my answer to that. Philo, you have an additional question? I saw your expenses on the standard of living. I'm making some proposal for employees here, but management in-house is insisting on a benchmark. Okay, so it's a tricky one. For starters, most organizations would rather keep what they are doing or what they have done to themselves. There is nothing that would like I said before, there's no one cap fits all. But on a general note, I tend to agree with your management that there should be some kind of benchmark. For example, if we had done some reviews based on the adjustment of pump price from 184 to 488 using NMPC figures or NMPC price. And now in the last one day, I think it was yesterday morning, we woke up to a further adjustment. And they have already told us or warned us that the price of petrol now is going to be determined by market forces. We know that sometime last week or so, we heard the news that the price of crude oil went higher, up to $80 from what I got. And before now, it was good news for us in Nigeria for any time that crude oil price went up, because that meant more revenue for the government. because government continued to buffer, the difference between the pump price that we were buying and the actual cost of getting the PMS on our pumps or into our cars. So now that that buffer is completely taken out, for every time that there's a movement or shake up in the price of crude oil, it is going to affect fuel price. So it's going up and going down. How do you want to manage that? So the best thing to do, really, if I may suggest, is for you to have a benchmark. That benchmark may be, it's a very complex calculation to do. It's not something I can begin to discuss here. But then there has to be a benchmark. It might be 10%, it might be 15%, measured over a period of time. Maybe every 6 months we'll do 5%. And this is regardless of what is happening in the macroeconomic cycle. Because if you continue to react, you are going to have a lot of knee-jerk reactions. And then if for whatever reason the prices of crude oil crashes to $40, and then price of petrol comes down to 200 naira or 300 naira, are you going to bring people's salaries down and all that? So it has to be something that you have to be scientific about it. Do some kind of benchmark, whatever that benchmark will be based on, right? Percentage of maybe 5% every 6 months, or 10%, or whatever it is, looking at a lot of indices, including the industry within which your company operates, including projections about how things may play out in the larger economy itself. So yes, there should be a benchmark. That is my own recommendation. What my company has done, I would rather keep to myself, but really, everybody needs to do something at this time. But how you do it is also important. Have a measured benchmark, please. That would be my recommendation. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. If you don't mind, you can actually share tips, on what your company have done, because that might, if you don't mind, if you cannot learn from it, so that individual like this can as well, draw insight from it.
Okay, right? Let me, again, since we're using the word measured, let me give you a measured response, right? So that I don't throw it open like that. But the company where I work, we had envisaged it, right? Because the truth is, prior to the removal of the subsidy, since last year, we already knew subsidy was going to go. It wasn't just about, government making, or some president making a pronouncement or something like that. If you already, as an organization, from the beginning of the year, have an outlook into the year, you can already see how the year is going to look based on existing government policies and pronouncements that have been made in the past. It is expected that you would have started adjusting. The problem that a lot of companies have now is that this thing caught them unawares, but it has been in the news since. It
has also been looking at me. I was even calling back for you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so yes, this thing has been in the news since last year. We saw all the struggles with labor, right? So that also now speaks to, are you even listening to what is happening outside? As HR, it's important for you to know, because anything that happens out there affects your people and what happens in-house. So for us, we already saw it, and there was no need for us to start running around trying to do any knee-jerk reactions to it, because there had already been a measured plan on how some of these things should be cushioned. But then again, I also like to say that everything is not just about paying more salaries, because when we do that, there are implications, one of which is that we just create unnecessary inflation in the country, right? There are different ways you can help employees. I don't know how many of us run companies or work in companies where remote work is a thing. Yes, I know that there are some jobs that may not be done remotely, but in truth, a lot of the things we do we really actually have to be on the road like every morning? Do we have to be on the road driving to the office or commuting to the office by whatever means, whether it's by public transport or we are driving our vehicles or even staff bus? Do we have to put it on the road every day? So these are all, it's a wide spectrum of things that a company can do. Increasing salaries is just one part of it, right? Because that will just increase the people's purchasing power, maybe, or earning power, more like, not exactly purchasing power. Because if you increase the salary, if the salaries by 100%, for example, and the prices of things grow by 150%, then you're going to have a challenge, because the people won't even be able to afford the things they could afford before the salary increment itself was done. So it's a wide spectrum of things. My recommendation would be, if you're able to increase salaries and your management sees the need for that, or is able to carry it based on the revenue base of the organization, please do that for the people, but in a measured benchmark. But apart from that, things like activating work from home and enabling people to work from home. Because again, you hear about people who said, oh, the company said I should work from home. You give them a laptop, you don't give them a dongle or internet connectivity. So how exactly are they supposed to do that? They'll now have to start buying data and by themselves and all of that. I mean, it's a whole gamut of things that we need to do. But my recommendation would be, if you can increase salaries, please do that. If you cannot do that, things like work from home, we have already activated that. You know, you try to encourage people. How do it? There are people who probably cannot function if they are not in the office space. They need to unlearn and relearn and understand that, you know, you are healthier mentally and psychologically if you are able to work from home. You know, all of those things can actually come together to deliver value to your employees, and they see what it is, you know, how well that you're thinking about them. Without exactly mentioning specific things. And I hope I've been able to say one or two things that can guide. So for me, okay, let me just do a brief summary of what I said. One is look out for the information. It's almost always there. There are not a lot of shocks in our economy, not many. Sometimes they happen, yes, but this increment in fuel price, we already saw it. I mean, it was in the news since last year. In fact, it's been in the news since 2016 or 17 or something, when the first partial subsidy removal was implemented. And that we knew the timetable. So it shouldn't have come to us as a shock. That's one. Then two, are there other incentives you can offer to your employee that would not exactly have them spending as much money, especially on transportation, you know, which is the first area that is hit whenever there is a jack up in the price of PMS, especially. So if those incentives exist, things like working from home and helping the people be able to actually work from home well, you know, like especially providing them work tools, including internet connectivity, then you would have, you know, done a whole lot. And it will amaze you how engaged your employees will be, because these people speak with their friends. They know those companies that are doing well, they know those that are not doing well. And it's all for you to look at it, check what your revenue base can carry, and implement. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Ifuribe. Any other question? Okay. Abi, please, can we have the display?
So I should take down my screen now, yeah?
Yes.
All right. Thank you.
All right. On behalf of all of us here at HRWT, we presented to you this certificate of appreciation for your contribution, your consistency, and effort put into this presentation. We do really appreciate you. God bless you. And we hope that whenever we call on you, you will answer.
We'll always be here to support. Thank you very much. And to learn too. It's body of learning, like you called it. Thank you very much, HRWT and everybody. Thank you for coming. I'd like to steal 30 seconds to mention that my colleagues at work are here, including my boss. So thank you, guys, for keeping safe. Thank you very much. I appreciate you. Thank you.
You're welcome. Yeah, Alimat, any other announcements? Or do I hear any announcement? Some people might be interested in getting the certificate for this presentation and recording. And also, for those who are interested in joining the platform, you're not yet on the platform, could you please share the link for them to join. Alima. Okay. All right, so thank you for being with us today. Ola Jumoke Fatoki, Philo. AWJL, Akin Adejoran Mrs. Alex O, Bibi Ojuku, Blessing Ebuagbe, good luck for me. So it's from our level. You were able to make it. Thank you. Maria Badejo and Mercy Osas, Odunayo Gundare, and Uju. Thank you so much for your time.